Project Mercury was started in 1958 and was finished in 1963. The main goals were to orbit a manned spacecraft around the Earth, to investigate man's ability to function in space, and to recover both man and spacecraft safely from space. When NASA worked on the Project Mercury, it was only 6 months old, and there was 6 flights that took place to make it into orbit. The most obvious purpose of Project Mercury was to send the first man in space, but it was also to get there before the Soviet Union did. Since the whole world was watching Project Mercury pursue its goals, they had to take very high safety precautions. They did every trial and error they could, and even used monkeys to send into space. Sam, a rhesus monkey, and Ham and Enos were chimpanzees that took the mission. The monkeys were not the only ones tested, but the astronauts went through very extensive testing to get their exact measurements and deem them as safe in space. They had to have excellent pilot skills, a background in engineering, and ideal physical and mental health to be in space. The spacecraft used only held one person, and the astronaut had to stay in its seat because it was so small. There were 2 different rockets used. The first 2, with astronauts on board, used the Redstone rocket, and the next 4 used the Atlas rocket. Both were originally built as missiles for the military. Alan Shepard, who was a World War II veteran, was the first one in space with his spacecraft, the Freedom 7.
Gus Grissom was the second to fly using his capsule, Liberty Bell 7. John Glenn was the first to orbit Earth using his capsule, Friendship 7. Scott Carpenter was the 4th to fly and the second to orbit Earth using his capsule, Aurora 7. Wally Schirra was the 5th, and his capsule was named Sigma 7. Gordon Cooper was the 6th and spent 34 hours circling Earth. His capsule was named Faith 7. Originally, there were 12 men, and that turned into 6, and that turned into 7. The last of the 7 men was Deke Slayton. He had a health problem that canceled his mission to fly to Mercury.
With all the information gathered from Project Mercury, it helped build Project Gemini.